Is it going?
Mm-hmm. So are we going to talk about Israel and that's it, or like what else?
Well, let's just talk about, I've got something going here. Okay, fine. I think I got it. Hey guys, welcome to the Spin 70 podcast. We've been the whole time we were trying to figure out what the hell we're going to talk about. We're not 100% sure. If you see me blinking like a psycho, it's because there's the sun setting. But I think we're going to start off discussing failure and fear of failure.
Ooh.
Yeah. Are you afraid of failure?
God, am I ever? Actually, today, right before we left, I had one of those awful thoughts that I have every once in a while, and I was like, maybe this should be a blog post, but the answer is really simple. But the question I had is, like, what if I don't have enough talent? Like, what if I'm doing this for no reason?
Yeah.
And, the answer I gave myself was, that's beside the point. If I was doing this to make a buck, then, yeah, I probably will fail. But I'm doing it because I love it.
So it sounds like, I think everyone's constantly thinking about their failure, but it also sounds like people who kind of proclaim themselves as creatives are always thinking about failure, because usually a creative doesn't know how to monetize, and we live in a world where money, we all know that money doesn't mean, money isn't everything. We can all say it out loud, but at the end of the day, whether we want to say it or not, money means a lot to a lot of us.
Money talks.
Money talks.
That's what it is.
That is true. I'll tell you, I have a definite fear of failure. The interesting thing is that coming back from Israel, when you decide to make the decision to make Aliyah, you're like, that's it. I'm going to the homeland. I'm returning, right? It's like it's your own personal. It's like you were exiled, and it's your own personal. What's the word I'm looking for?
Mission,
something like that. You're personally.
Purpose.
Your purpose. Thank you. It's your own personal purpose, and you're basically returning your lineage where it began. And when you have to pick up and leave, it is a devastating failure, because you're like, damn, why didn't this work? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? Is it because I did this? Is it because so-and-so did this to me? The truth is that it worked. It didn't work because it didn't work. And the more devastating the failure, the more of an opportunity you have to make a comeback. I think it was Les Brown. Was it Les Brown? No, it was Og Mandino. I think I'm saying that right. He wrote this book called The Greatest Salesman in the World. And he has a famous quote that is, a setback is a setup for a comeback. Now, granted, whenever we fail, and we fail hard, it's difficult to recover from that failure. And I think what I'd like to cover today, as far as fear of failure and dealing with failure, is what would the step process be as far as... No, the step process. What would the step process be as far as recovering from that failure and then preparing yourself for your triumphant return? Or whatever you want to call it.
Okay. Is that open to the floor?
It's open to the floor.
Well, first thing that comes to mind when you say dealing with failure and a failure is set up for a comeback is, I think, of what Gary Vaynerchuk says, which is that you need to learn to love losing, because it's when you lose that you actually have a challenge in front of you to face. So that's first of all. The other thing that I think people tend to forget is that life is a series of games, which is something that I've been struggling with trying to figure out for a while. And over Shabbat, I think I got a grasp on it, or a different
So let me stop
nuance
you for a second.
Sure.
You mentioned a couple things. I want to address the first one. First one was you have to love losing.
Yeah.
What does that mean in your mind?
Well,
and in layman's terms, because we know that you're a big time scholar. And what is that? And can you give us somewhat of an example as to what that means?
Sure. actually, here's a great example. Today we went and biked up Lookout Mountain, and
For those who don't know what Lookout Mountain is, it is a mountain in Colorado that has its name because you look out. It's a lookout. You basically see the Colorado, the
It's
Denver
Pride Rock.
skyline.
Yeah.
It's Pride Rock from The Lion King. It's a beautiful view.
Yeah, it's great. You look
Continue.
east and you see all of Metro Denver, Aurora, whatever. You look west and you see the mountains. It's like, what's
It's
not
a pretty
to love?
euphoric sight.
Yeah. It's a great view. Biking up is 1,399 feet of elevation, and it is 5 miles. And it
5
is-
miles uphill,
It is grueling.
which doesn't sound like much, but it's pretty hard.
It's grueling.
Anyhow,
And
so-
we took this guy out who doesn't bike. We both bike. I've been training for this mountain for a year and a half. I haven't done it in a year and a half. And I've been training for it for a year and a half. And this guy, he's like, I heard you did Lookout Mountain, or my brother invited him to do it with us. And I'm like, dude, you don't want to do this right now. It's the hardest ride I've ever done. And I would be insanely surprised if you finished it. Not only does he finish it, he beats me to the top. And I've been training to do this mountain I've been training on this mountain, and I've been training to do this mountain for about 2 years. And it crossed my mind as he passed me. I was thinking to myself, why am I doing this if somebody who's never done it can do it better than me and doesn't even, like, without, with the appearance of not trying. And it was like insanely devastating. And lucky for me, I was listening to some motivational music. And, the thing is that I told him when we got to the top that I'm taking him every week because now I have someone I need to beat. Right? I think that is the essence of learning to love losing. If you are chasing something that's easy to beat, my brother's easy to beat because he's 60 pounds heavier than me, which means that it takes him a lot longer to get up the mountain, and he's not practiced. This guy's 150 pounds, I'm 170 pounds. He kills me on the mountain. Now I have someone who I need to beat. Easy victory, other guy, not easy victory. Hard
Thanks.
victory.
Thank you.
Yeah, I knew that would make you feel good. But that was like, oh, good. Now I have a challenge. Now I have something to beat other than myself. So I think that's what loving losing means.
Okay, and I totally blanked on the second
Series
question.
of games.
Series of games. Thank you. What does that mean?
Yeah. So
Nice. He was
this
well
is
programmed.
this is something that I lost sight of a while ago. I used to play life like it was a series of games. I suck at the game of life, but I did recognize that life is a game. And what does that mean? That means that whenever you're doing anything in your life, you're competing with yourself or somebody else, especially if it's challenging. And everything you do in this life is challenging, even if it appears that it isn't challenging. The only reason you think it's not challenging is because you figured out how to do it already. But life is a series of games. Life is getting along with people. Life is being competitive while at the same time getting along with people. The goal in life is to win that series of games, or win as many of those games as you can. It's like when we watch sports and there's the game within the game. That's what life is. Life is, if you look at life through the lens of life is a series of games, then practice makes perfect. And that's the truth of life. Everyone instinctively knows that, but we're all taught that talent supersedes work.
Oh, yeah.
We're all taught that if you don't have the talent, you just can't do the work. And so when we fail, we're like, I must not have.
But the truth is, when you fail, you're building character. You're becoming headstrong, and talent may supersede work, but character supersedes talent. And my view of failure And this is not an easy thing. It's something you kind of have to battle with on a daily basis. But my view with failure is that everyone always wants to do something. Everyone always wants things to come easy. And what's the biggest thing that everyone's pursuing besides for finances? Everyone is pursuing happiness. The only reason why we pursue money is because we think money will make us happy, only to realize that money doesn't make you happy.
Right.
It makes you unsatisfied.
Well, I mean, money makes you happy up to the point where you are clothed and fed, and you have a house.
Yeah, right. But when you're dreaming about the riches, you're like, I'm gonna have this, and I'm gonna have that, I'm gonna have a private jet, I'm gonna party.
Yeah, because these are all things that are marketed to us as happiness, right?
Yeah.
You never see someone in a Corvette brochure who's not smiling ear to ear. But what they don't show you in the Corvette brochure is that the person driving the Corvette is trying to make up for some hole in his life that he just can't seem to fill.
True. What I realized recently, I actually wrote something about this a couple days ago, was when is it that we feel true happiness? Everyone has felt it. They just don't know how to re-obtain it, if that's a word.
Keep it. Yeah, I mean, it's like what you said to me the other day when I said to you, Shalom, I think I figured out the key to life. And you're like, no. You figured out the key for this exact moment in time. Like, that's what you figured out. Because the truth is, and this is actually something I told my chavrusa the other day, whatever. I told them, the truth is that, like, you're constantly shifting between one thought and another thought. And the second you have the answer, your brain just moves on. And you're, like, holding on to that answer, like you figured something out, right? One thing that I used to do, up until very recently, is when I davened Shemona Esrei, when I got to Modim, I would just think about all the things I was thankful for. And I did that for like a year and a half. And then, like, suddenly one day it dawned on me that it just wasn't getting the job done anymore. It was just something that I did, like, unconsciously. And I was like, all right, I'm thankful for that. And then the other thing, whatever. And it just didn't feel like I was getting anywhere again. And that happens a lot, especially when you're davening. It's just like meditating, I'd imagine, right? You can meditate on something positive, but if you've meditated on it before, it's probably not going to help you as much as it did the last time you did it.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, sorry, did I go off on a tangent?
You did a little bit. It's okay. Anyhow, what I was going to say is that I challenge people out there who are listening to this. Think about the last time that you were happy, right? Everyone has a fear of failure. Everyone is scared of something. They're scared of not achieving some sort of a goal. However, the time that we're happiest is when we conquer something that's difficult. Whenever we do something easy, we don't feel satisfied because easy is easy. Oh yeah, I brushed my teeth. Oh awesome, I made my bed.
Oh shit, I forgot.
That was a little bit of a subliminal message there. Oh awesome, great. I cleaned my clothes and folded them and put them away on the same day in the same hour. That's BS. The truth is, the most satisfying thing in this world is when you accomplish something that's difficult and you're like, damn, I just did that.
Well, I think...
and the thing is... Yeah, you're done talking. The thing is... that in order for you to reconnect with being competitive with yourself and not comparing to other people and what other people have and what you don't have, compared to the fact that, like, wow, I was here and I came all the way over here. And I went through all the trials and tribulations to get there. That's the truth. So that's where true happiness actually comes from. Fear of failure is just resistance telling you, don't do this because it's gonna suck. But the truth is, we all love what's gonna suck because conquering what's gonna suck is the greatest thing ever. We were talking about going up Lookout Mountain. The first time I did it, I was huffing and puffing. It took me like an hour. I was the whole time like, screw this. I don't want to do this. This sucks. But I was like, I'm not gonna turn around and give up. I'm gonna finish the damn ride.
Yeah.
And I did it, and it was hard.
Especially because he knew I would never let it go if he gave up.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely on my conscience. But this was the second time that we did it. And not only did I beat my time by like, what was it, 15 minutes maybe?
No way. Sorry.
Thank you. That's great.
I don't know, dude. You weren't timing yourself. If I had to guess, you probably wiped about 5 minutes off.
5 minutes?
Time.
Oh, good. Anyhow, I beat my time. You're such a Anyhow, I beat my time. The breaks that I took were a lot shorter, and I had a new strategy. It was my second time up the mountain, so I knew what I was dealing with as I was going through it. And usually failure gives us the opportunity to use the experience that we had to propel forward. And what I did was that I was, instead of focusing on what was the view that was ahead, I focused on each landmark. We say, make it this far. Okay, once I pass that, make it that far. Okay, once I pass that, make it that far. Okay, when I get to that sign, I'm gonna take a break. And it made me go faster, and it built up my endurance and built up my mental fortitude as far as finishing the climb. And I did it a lot quicker than I had done it before, and I felt a lot better about it. I was like, that wasn't so bad. And the truth is that when you fail hard, you have the mental fortitude to say, okay, I know what it was like, and that was hard, but now I know. So the next time it's not going to be that hard. And the time after that it's not going to be that hard. And every time you get closer and closer and closer, the happier you get, and the more you want to challenge yourself. And the truth is, fear of failure is just complete garbage. It doesn't mean anything. Because if you realize that your happiness comes from conquering your greatest feats and from challenging yourself, then the truth is, once you figured out that formula, then all you got to do is just keep doing that and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, and the sky's the limit. That's what they mean when they say the world is your oyster. You can't just say, someone told me the world was my oyster, so it must be mine. No, you have to work for it. You have to work for who you are and what you have. That's how I'm done.
Oh, good.